Today we're going to talk about learning, specifically about something called operant conditioning. Operant conditioning is a form of associative learning that's similar to classical conditioning. In classical conditioning, a person can learn the connection between two stimuli. It's a kind of respondent behavior, which is behavior that occurs automatically. Let's say you're given a pill that makes you feel sick, and later given apple juice to drink while you take the pill. The next time you're given the apple juice by itself, you'd feel nauseated, even without the pill. Basically, classical conditioning is a response that happens on autopilot or an involuntary response. But what about responses that are intentional or voluntary? That's operant conditioning. Operant conditioning is a kind of associative learning. It's less likely that someone will keep doing the same thing because of consequences afterwards. The change in behavior happens spontaneously or by accident, and the consequences after that behavior will influence whether that person repeats that same behavior. For example, let's say you're biking to work one day. On a whim, you decide to take a different route. The chances that you'll take that route again will be either increased or decreased based on your experience. Maybe the new route had more beautiful scenery, or you found a delicious donut shop. You'd be more likely to take that route again. But if you hit a pothole and fell off your bike, you'd be less likely to take that route next time. That simple response to an experience is called contingency. Contingency is when one stimulus can predict the presence of another. Like that tasty donut in open road can predict you taking a newer route. At the beginning of the 1900s, there was a behavioral scientist called E.L. Thorndike, who performed experiments with cats to learn more about operant conditioning. In one of his studies, he put a cat in a puzzle box. Outside the box, he put a plate of fish. To escape from the box, the cat had to learn to press the latch inside the box. At first, the cat tried to claw at the opening of the box or reach towards the fish, trying to bring the plate closer. Eventually, the cat accidentally pressed on the lever and the box opened. The next time the cat was placed in the box, it resorted to its original strategies, clawing and reaching until it remembered to lean on the latch again. The more Thorndike performed the experiment, the faster the cat would lean on the latch and escape the box. From this, Thorndike determined the law of effect. The law states that behaviors that are followed by positive outcomes are strengthened, while behaviors that are followed by negative outcomes are weakened, meaning that the consequences of behavior change the likelihood of that behavior being repeated. There are other strategies for teaching or learning behavior. Let's talk about shaping. Shaping is when you reward someone for successive approximations of a desired behavior. For example, let's say we're trying to train a rat to press a bar in a cage to get a treat. It's super unlikely that the rat will press the bar. So, you reward the rat with a treat when it's in the right half of the cage. Next, you reward the rat when it's within 3 inches of the bar. Then, you reward the rat when it's next to the bar. Finally, you give the rat the treat only when it presses the bar. We talked earlier about how a behavior could be followed by something pleasant or unpleasant. This ties into how we understand reinforcement. It's when a stimulus after an event increases the likelihood that behavior will happen again. There are a couple types of reinforcement: positive or negative. Positive reinforcement increases the frequency of a behavior, like when you made that turn to work and got that delicious donut. Negative reinforcement decreases the frequency of behavior because it's followed by the removal of something undesirable. Let's say when your parents have been asking you to clean out the garage for weeks. They keep bugging you about it until you finally clean out the garage. Doing what they asked you to do removes the undesirable stimulus, your parents nagging you. Keep in mind that positive and negative reinforcement have nothing to do with good or bad. Instead, they refer to the process which something is given, positive, or removed, negative. These kinds of experiments have influenced our understanding of human psychology as well. Learned helplessness has helped psychologists explain many different perplexing issues, like why some students after an experience with failure no longer try to succeed. These are just some of the principles associated with operative learning. Isn't it interesting to learn how we learn? I think so.